create contact using Flow, and in this thing we would be creating the contact using the account. If account is not present, then we would be creating that account and assigning it to that contact. And if the account is present, then we will search it from the backend, and then we would put in place in that newly created contact. So let's get started, and I'll move on to this. We'll search for the flows here in the settings. Click on the flows, and here I would be creating the new flow, which would be of the screen type, since we want to show it to the user how to create the contact in a easier manner. So we would be selecting the screen flows. We also have other flows as well, like schedule trigger, auto launch one, record triggered flow, and platform event triggered flows. So for this demo, I would be concentrating on the screen flow only, which would be like manually triggered by the user. So I'll click on the create button, and then we can see the new screen here. First, I would be creating a screen here, and in the screen we can since for creating a contact we need the first name, last name, and an email address. Apart from that, since we would be assigning it to the account, therefore we would be needing another field, which is an account, or you can say in your way you can say company or anything. So in my case, I would say like company as an account. So first we would be searching an name field, and we would put in place here. Okay, so this is the name where we would be saving the name of the contact, first name, last name. We would be requiring email, so I'll take the email here also. Then text. Here we would be storing the account name. Okay, so I have pulled all the fields which are required for creating the contacts. Let's put the naming into these things. So first I would place like create contact screen. Okay, and here contact name, it will have first name, last name. Now we want to assign it manually to an object. So for the first name, we would assign it to the first name, and for the last name, we would assign it for the last name. So we have this first name. I want to create a new resource, and that resource is of the record type. Okay, so first I will be selecting it as a variable, and in that variable I would say let's suppose contact record for creation. Okay, type we would be selecting the record. Okay, and since we would be creating only one, so we will not check this checkbox. And what type of record this would be created is the contact. So I'll search it from the list, and here you can see the contact is there. Okay, so click on this. So we have the first name. Right now this is the first name, so we want to assign it to the first name of the variable, which is like contact creation dot first name. Now for saving the last name details, we would be adding this value like contact record for creation dot last name. Okay, so now we have saved these two things for first name and last name. For email, I would suggest to save it in a different label. So let me take this as an email. This is the API name, and then if I go down here in the advanced, I will go to the manual assign variables, and I'll assign it to the contact email as an variable. Okay, so I go here and you can see the value, so I'll have to create a new resource here, and resource would be of the variable type, and we can say contact email, and data type would be of the text type. Okay, so we save it like this. Now last thing what is left is the company, which we would say that the account. So let me name it as company. Okay, and I'm marking it as mandatory because when we are creating a contact we need this thing. So I'll click on the require, so it would be marked as mandatory. Okay, so I'll try to save it. Okay, so here you can see that our screen is created now. Save the value of a name of account in variable. Okay, so I'll take the assignment step, which is the logic one, and we would say like okay. And here I would be creating a new variable called account rec, which is of the account type. Okay, record type, and here we would be using the account. So since we want to capture the value of that account, so account has the name, so we would use this name. This is the API name of the account, and from where we are trying to getting that information, we are trying to get that information from the company. So we get directly this information and we assign it to this this account record. Okay, similarly there is one more thing that we need to do is like in the contact record creation that we have created, we have email is there, which we have put it in separate variable. We want to keep that into this record, so we will check this and we will assign this email to this record as well. So we have both the things ready now. Now what we would be doing is that the next step would be to fetch the account. If we have any account associated with the name of what we have put in the screen. Okay, so we go down and we do the get records search. Click on this. Okay, so I would name it as get account, and it would be account. So once I have selected the account, you can see that it is asking for the conditions. Okay, so what you can put here is you need to see if the name of that account that matches the existing accounts in the system or not. So we have name field, so here I would put name that would be in equals to the company name. Okay, I'll save it. Okay, so with this you will get the records if there are any records present in backend or not. And so next step what we would be doing is that we need to check whether the account is present or not in this. So we would add an additional element, which is to check like if the account is there. So we would take this decision step, and I would say that is account found. Okay, I can put question mark to check. Okay, and another thing is so there are like two outcomes that you can see. One is like the outcome that you want, that's the positive one, and the another one is the default outcome. That is something if no conditions are fulfilled, then this outcome will be like fallout. I would say that is account found And here I would search for the condition like wherein if our account is found from the previous step of retrieving the accounts from existing application. So we will search for account from get accounts, and if account ID which is like ID, I would say. Sorry about that. That account ID would be on the contact. I'm searching it on the account. That's bad. And here I would say is null false. So what it would do is it would check for this condition would check if from get account step, if ID is not null, then default outcome would be executed, and if the account ID is null, then it would go on to create the new account. So this is something we want to do. So here you can see is account found and default out. So in this case, like on the left side tree, we would be using that existing account for creating our contact, and on the right hand side, if the account is not found, then we are going to create the account. So first thing what we are going to do is we'll create the account, since we don't have any account in this default outcome. So we'll again search for the data element wherein we want to create the records. So click on this, and here we would be creating the record. And since we want to create one, so we would put it as 1 and all value from record. And here account record from account. Okay. So here it is asking for like what record you want to create. So we already have an account rec is there which contains the name of this account. So we use this, and for creation of the account we just need the name of that account. In your case, if your business logic says that you need some different fields as well for creating that account, then you can pre-populate those values into your variable, or you can take it from the user as well in the first screen that we have seen. Okay, and this way we would be able to create the account. Now since the account is created, we want to fetch the ID of that account. Okay, so here I would add another step wherein we would be assigning the value of account ID from this newly created account. So what we are going to do is that create the new step and we assign that value. Okay, and here we want to assign this ID to the account ID field, and account from create account track. Okay, so so here from this you can understand is that, so in the previous step we saw that the account was created, and we want to retrieve that value and put it into another like contact record, wherein in the contact record we have this account ID which is the ID of that account. And since we had provided account rec as the record for creating the account, so when the account was created, this account rec record was updated with the account ID, with the ID of that account. Okay, so we don't need to like reassign to some other variable like that. So here it will be like automatically handled in this flow. So this is something you need to remember. Okay, so we have got everything when we don't have an account, and we have created this account now. So next step, what we are going to do is that we are going to go on to the left side of the flow, which says like is account found. So if the account is found, we want to assign that account ID to the contact record. So again, we will go for this assignment. Save account record info. Okay, and here we want to keep the contact record for creation dot account ID. This information we want to put, and from where we want to put it, we want to put it this information from the get account, this get account, and whatever ID was fetched from this step, we would put it here. So from this you can understand, like from the get account step where we retrieve the account information, from there the ID of that account we are assigning it to the contract records account ID field. Okay, now we have everything in place for creating or updating our contact. Now first we would need to see if the contact is there or not. Okay, so I would see if contact with the name is present or not. So I'll check for get contact. And here, since we want to search the contact with the name, first name and last name, so I would put first name equals, so we have contact record for creation dot first name. This is first condition, and the second condition is like last name. You can put any other condition if you want, like if you think that you don't want to change the email address of a contact and you want to keep it as like an unique value, then in that case you can put email as the contributing factor for searching the contact. Okay, and this would be contact record for creation dot last name. So from this we would get the contact, and we would search for the contact if it is present or not. Okay, this step has been created, and we are searching for contact if the contact is present or not with the first name and last name. So after this we would have a new step that is to decide whether we have contact present, we want to update it or not, like that. So for that we need element called decision element. Okay, and I'll see for it like as contact is present. Okay, and same here also we would see if the contact is present or not in that. Contact is present. Okay. Okay, just to make it as a unique API name. Okay. Now here I would see contact, whether we have got the contact from the get contact call. Get contact. This is an ID. We want to check if the ID is not null. Okay, is null, false. So you can have other conditions. I have put it like this, like if the ID of that contact is not null, then we would go on to the left hand side. If the ID is null, then we would go on to the right hand side. Okay, fair enough. So first we go on to the right hand side, wherein we want to create the contact, since we don't have the contact. So again I'll open up the create records step, and here I would say like create contact. Okay, and what type of contact we want to create? Contact from this one. we have all the information of like contact record for creation, and we put it as done here. Now with this, I think all of our step for creating an account is done. Now we want to also show it to the user that okay, we have created the contact is created successfully. So we show the confirmation message onto the screen and say that oh, uh, your contact has been created. Okay, so I'll say display text, and here created. Since it's an API name, so you cannot have spaces. Okay, so here I would say contact is created successfully. Okay. You can make it as bold. You can say hooray, whatever you want to say. Okay. What's this? Okay, name contact created success. And another thing that you want to do is that since the contact is now created and you don't want your user to go back to the previous screen and redo it again, so you want to remove the pause button and the previous button. Okay, so how you can do is you can go to the configure footer, and here you can you can remove the pause button. So if I click on this hide pause, it would remove this pause button, and similarly you can remove this previous button also. So you have this previous button is there, so you can click on the hide. So now you have a decent screen which would say that the contact is created successfully. Okay. Now on the right hand side, we want to update the contact if the contact is not created. If the contact is already present, we want to update that contact. So before updating that contact, we want to check what's the ID of that contact. So that we want to assign that ID to the contact record that we had earlier. So I would say save contact ID, and here we want to save it in the contact record for creation, and here we would say the ID. So this would be like we want to add the ID of the contact that we have fetched, and we want to update that one. And here from where we would be getting it, the get contact call. Okay, and what would be the ID? This would be the ID. You can search it and you will find it. Okay. So now we can see that the contact is ready for updating. Okay, so again we would be making use of another element which is for updating the records, and here we would say update records, update contact. Okay, use ID from this one, and what is the contact record for creation? This is the collection that we have, and we put it as done. Okay, nothing else we have to do. And last step that we need to do is we need to add a confirmation screen, and here you can say and here you want to show some display text. So display text, you pull it from the left hand side, the components, and here you say contact updated successfully text. Okay, contact updated successfully. Okay, make it bold, make it exclamation, and done. So now you have done all the things for creating or updating your contact. And let me save it. update contact. Okay, creation of the contact or updating the existing contact. So we have done with the flow. Now we want to test this flow. So you have like couple of ways with which you can test this. So one of the best thing which I like about this flows is that even if your flow is not active, still you can test it. So you can test it from the debug mode, and once you have activated, then also you can run it and debug. Both the things you can do it afterwards also. And before like running and creating this account, this contact, let me go back to the contact page, and here I have put in place a filter wherein I have put in place a filter wherein I am checking for all the contacts that are created today. And since right now we don't have any contacts created, so this list is empty. So we go here and I click on the debug button. We want to run it on the latest one, so I have checked this one. Then there is this second checkbox. You want to show the details when you are like running this flow. So you will have on the right hand side, you have details of what values you had captured during the creation of the contact. And if you want to run it as another user, wherein you have something to do with the permission sets and all, you want to see if the user should be able to do it. In that case, you would want to work with this one. So for our demo, we would go with these two checkbox only. Click on run. I'll put in my name, Sunil Kumar, and email would be something like sunil.kumar@example.com. Company would be Sunil Company. This would be the account. Now if I click on the next, this should create the account for the first time, since in the application we don't have any contact created. So here if I go back to the all contacts, and if I refresh here, you would see nicely one record would be shown here. So you can see the account is of the Sunil type. Okay, again I want to run it, so I'll run it again, and this time I keep it some other person's name while keeping the account name as same. Okay, so this time I would say Samir Kumar, Samir.Kumar@example.com, and the company was Sunil Company. Okay, so this time it will create the contact, but it will not it will take the existing account. It will not create the new account. And here we see the new person is created. Okay, now let's suppose we want to change the email address of the Samir. In that case, like we want to change the name, email address, or we want to change the account, like we want that user to be assigned to some other contact account. In that case also we can do that. So it was Samir Kumar, and let's suppose S Kumar, we put it as a new email, and we want to give a new company name, S Kumar. So now if I click on the next and we go to the next step, then we would see that the Samir record has been updated. Its email has been updated from Samir.Kumar to skumar@example.com, and the company is also updated, which is like account is updated also. Like upon here, since we in this org we don't have Skumar account created, so it will create the new account, but the contact record would be updated. Yeah, so here you can see contact record updated successfully. And if you go back to this list and we see the Samir Kumar, its email would be updated and the account name would also be updated. So here you can see the account is also changed. Now since we haven't tested the record creation or updation of this contact, now we want to enable this flow. So we click on the activate. Now the flow is activated now, and we want to put it this flow onto somewhere. So let's suppose I'll take you to the place. Let's suppose I want to put it in the home folder, so home page. So we go to the home, and here we would pull it. You can search in the list as flows, and you put it here. You can put it anywhere in this screen. Once you have put the flow component, you want to check for which flow is of yours. So click on create or update one. This is our flow. Click on save. Okay, you want to activate the page, and again save it. Save, change, go back here, and now we should see our contact flow here. So here you can see our contact flow is now present on this home screen. And again, if I say Sunil Kumar, Sunil Kum at example.com, and company is Sunil Company. So this would update my record. Okay. Here you can see the contact report updated successfully, and if I click on finish, it will again open the same flow. Okay. So guys, this is all in this video. Like and subscribe this video if you like it. Thank you.